Paul Ryan says, I'd like to spend more time with my family. I'm not quite sure. I think that's very admirable for him to say, but I wish that sometimes people could quit using that as sometimes an excuse to switch jobs. But let me ask what that is going to mean for the rest of the Republicans who are kind of looking around come election time saying, it feels like Republicans are starting to drop out a little bit. Nolan, I'm going to let you take a
well,
first crack at that.
You've had 39, or Paul Ryan, I think, makes 39 who decided not to run. They clearly see some trouble on the horizon and the possibility in the House that they won't be in the majority. You see that those defects when there's a possibility you're going to lose your chairmanships and all of that. I take Paul Ryan a lot at his words. I'm sure he was frustrated, but he's been in Congress 20 years, and he's been a commuter for 20 years. And it's not. I talked to Dave Trott about it this morning, who made the same decision last year, and he said, "Look, it's a grueling job. You've got to you got three jobs. You've got to legislate and make policy, and they're horrible at that. They're not getting anything done, and that's frustrating. You got to spend half your time raising money and campaigning, and then what's left you got for constituent services and talking to the people, and you don't, that's the part that gets shortchanged. And so there's a lot of frustration beyond the politics. Certainly the current environment doesn't make it a really fun place to be for a lot of people, but I mean, Republicans don't tend to stay in office until they're carried out in caskets the way Democrats do.
Well,
the average age is much younger.
I think it goes to a larger interesting question where if you have someone like Paul Ryan, who is a self-proclaimed policy wonk who loves to try to get into the issues and where his party is, if he says he's done and you have that kind of experienced policy person, then where are we just going to have this?
But he's done it for 20 years. I mean, that's not a revolving door. That's a long time.
We also need to talk about Paul Ryan and the sort of cardinal hypocrisy that shrouds his legacy here. Here's somebody who spoke very adamantly against President Trump when he was on the campaign trail. I mean, really took after him
that's the first time
for his character and other things like that. Now he's going along with the agenda there, but the more significant conflict in his legacy is how much he has talked about deficits and spending, how much he has talked about how dangerous that is, and fought Democratic presidents
piled on a little
over
bit.
that. And look at this bill that they've passed, this tax bill. Now he says, look, I passed an entitlement bill in the House, but didn't pass the Senate, didn't get signed by the president. Maybe that was a reason to hold off on that tax bill, if that's what you believed. I mean, this is someone who is, no question, a very brilliant policy analyst, but he's also quite cynical and has governed cynically and politically.
But in fairness,
in that role.
Paul Ryan in the Republican House sent a much better budget bill to the Senate, and it went nowhere.
It didn't go anywhere.
He was faced with the choice: shutting down the government, in which he would have been blamed, Republicans would have been blamed, or passing this bill. He could not get his bill through the Senate.
Where he'll show up next, it'll be very interesting.
He'll do something, making more money.
I hope he's making more money.
Making money.